Have you found yourself asking deeper questions about what's really happening in your child's body? Toxins, environment, gut health, all of that? Well, in this episode, we talk about inflammation, toxins, and how these factors can influence your child's regulation. We're also bringing awareness to supplements, detox support, and how cellular health may play a role. This episode isn't about quick fixes, it's about understanding the body and having better tools and resources to move forward. So, I hope you enjoy this conversation with Dr. Jeffrey Knight. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Autism Family Resource Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Keene. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Jeffrey Knight, a chiropractor and the founder of the Autism Wellness Center in Utah. Dr. Knight works with families through a whole body phase approach that looks at neurological function, regulation, and connection, and how things like inflammation, gut health, and cellular healing may play a role. This conversation isn't about quick fixes, it's about understanding the body, slowing things down, and hearing real stories of how families notice changes over time. Welcome, Dr. Jeffrey Knight.
Thanks so much. It's an honor to be here with you, Brian. I appreciate the opportunity to connect and engage with you and your audience. I'm excited.
I'm excited as well, and I think we had a great conversation before this, and I think a lot of people are going to get value out of this.
You bet.
All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Tell me a little bit about who you are.
You bet. So just a quick background on me. Born and raised in Utah, married to a wonderful woman, my wife. We've been married for, going on 18 years. We have 6 kids, 2 boys and 4 girls. We live just north of Salt Lake City, Utah, and love the mountains, love sports. It's been a big part of my life. And then been a chiropractor, a doctor of chiropractic since 2012 was when I graduated, and been running my own practice in Utah since 2013. And then been working with kids on the autism spectrum since 2014, and have gotten into more specific aspects of that over the last 5-6 years, where I've taken not just a functional approach with like structural and the nervous system, but also getting down into more of a cellular approach in recognizing the importance of cellular healing and detoxification and gut health and some of those things.
This awesome. I want to ask you, because I'm thinking as anyone listening right now, they're kind of like a chiropractor.
Yeah,
Justin Backs, how does this have to do with me? So I know
good
that might
question.
be a typical thing, so give us more insight on that.
Yeah, so it is funny you mentioned that, Brian, because most people when they do find out I'm a doctor of chiropractic, they're like, "Oh, so you must crack a lot of backs," and I tell them, that is a piece of the puzzle. That is one of the tools I use. But I think one of the fantastic things about the world of chiropractic and being trained the way I was is really you have I would say an overall higher level approach to seeing the body as a whole, and you recognize all the different aspects that can influence healing and function. And so a lot of it, of course, stems from the brain and the nervous system. But then you look at and you break down all the different systems in the body, and you understand the importance of nutrition, and you understand the importance of digestion, and you understand the importance of detoxification and how the organs and glands are working. And so the beauty of being a chiropractor is we have the opportunity to really kind of step into the world of healing in a very, I guess you could say, versatile, unique, and it can be um, pretty robust in some degrees. Of course, there's some of us that are very more kind of hyper focused on just the spine, or hyper focused on sports injuries or car accidents, which you hear a lot of those. But really, the human body, it's an incredible creation. It's an amazing when you can influence it in positive ways. And so what happened as I got into this space is a few things. I would say a lot of my patients motivated me to continue to learn and grow and to gain more education, because I would have patients that would come in for maybe that shoulder pain or that back pain, but then I'd start hearing them talk about some of the frustrations they had in other areas of their health where they felt like it wasn't being addressed from other sources. And then, of course, I have 2 stepsisters that have sons on the autism spectrum, And I grew up watching and witnessing kind of the challenges there. And so you piece all this together, and it just felt like, man, I really need to find a way to do more for this population. And that's kind of what prompted me to move forward, because it wasn't something I was planning on, honestly. But I guess the quick and easy story is I just feel like, God said, Jeff, this is something that these people need help. You have the tools from all the training you've done. Let's do something about it. And so that's kind of where I'm at now.
That's amazing. I love that story of just kind of how you grew.
Yeah,
And I think a lot of times as professionals, like we don't necessarily know where we're going and we kind of find it through our clients, right?
for sure. 100%. Yeah.
So you kind of got into this niche working with autistic population. You're like, this is kind of where I'm at. What are some of the things that common concerns and stuff that families come to you with or clients come to you with?
First of all, I wanted to say quickly, Brian, I admire the work you're doing because it is such an absolute benefit, and you provide so much value for these families. And so, where I come in is more a complementary role to kind of what you do, what ABA therapists do, what other therapists do, like speech, and of course, the OT that you're really expert at. Mine is complementary in the sense that families will notice that things are improving in certain aspects behaviorally, but then there may be certain things such as constipation might be really a big problem, maybe struggles with sleep and falling asleep, or maybe it's even staying asleep, or maybe there are some of the behavioral things that are improving, but there still seems like something's quite not right. Or some other things could be even like connecting on a social level. I've even seen how going through and helping like support liver function and detoxification, how kids will even start to become more engaged behaviorally as well. And so everything that I do really is designed to help support those kids so that they can maximize like their therapies. They can maximize their time in schoolwork and the way they connect with socially with families. But a lot of it is more kind of like some of the, I guess, the outer edge things that oftentimes a lot of parents don't always think about. They probably know there's something else missing, but they don't always know where to go, and they don't always know what to do. And so I provide a lot of guidance with, even some diet and stuff like that too.
So you're help supplement with all the other things going on with the family, and you have a four-phase approach that you mentioned, and I didn't really
Yeah.
you didn't really dive into that. So go ahead and give us a big picture of what that four-phase approach is. I want to work with you. What might that look like?
So yeah, this is something that I've organized, and it's brought a lot of, I would say, peace of mind to a lot of parents, because there have been a lot of parents out there that have bought supplements, and they've bought different products that are designed to do this, that, and the other. But oftentimes they don't know the cadence, the frequency, the dosage. They don't know how long they should be doing something, and so the four-phase approach is really an opportunity where I guide, help, and coach parents to help their children. And the first phase, specifically, so it's a four-phase approach for cellular healing and detoxification, and it is designed specifically for children on the autism spectrum. And it basically, I'm using supplements and different products, but I actually handpick from a number of different companies. So this is a proprietary process that I've just learned over the years from all my education. And so phase one is all about prepping the body for success, because too often people will just jump right into a detox and they're like, oh, I've heard this product is good for detoxing heavy metals. They start to do it, and it may help a little bit, but at the same time, one of the challenges is it could potentially create other obstacles and even make things a little more difficult. Because if you haven't done phase one, which is prepping the body and opening up the downstream detox pathways, so there's different organs and glands in the body that are designed to help make sure to facilitate proper detoxification. And so if those organs and glands aren't getting the support they need, then to ask them to go actually and do a job that's going to require a little bit higher demand, they're not going to be able to do it very well. And so phase one is critical. And I would say it's probably one of the phases that gets overlooked the most from all the families that I've talked to, because there are some families that I've spoken with that have tried some level of detoxification, but a lot of them are like, man, I don't think we've ever even considered doing phase one. And I'm like, well, no wonder we're having this conversation, is because, this is a key piece that likely was missed, and definitely can facilitate better removal of the toxins. So that's phase one. Phase two is where we get in and we tackle any kind of hidden toxins like heavy metals, environmental toxins, chemicals, like pesticides, herbicides. Glyphosate is a big one that a lot of individuals deal with. And then we even address like hidden infections like parasites, mold, even some viral type stuff or bacteria that seems to be stubborn. And so I've got a ton of different herbs and different products that we use, that are liquid based, that are easy to take, easy to absorb, and then we get that into the body to help work with that. We also don't want to forget to support the nervous system. We don't want to forget to help support methylation. So there's even things that we do through these phases that are making sure we're not ignoring the key aspects that the body needs. And throughout the whole 4 phases that I use, I do have some products that are designed specifically for cell membrane regeneration. So, like the outer part of the cell that's maybe been inflamed and damaged. And then I also make sure we're including like vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. And so those are some key pieces. And then, of course, the detox, though, it can be one of the challenging pieces for a lot of families if they don't have the right support and the right guidance. And so families have access to me through the program that I do, where they can reach out, ask questions, and receive the guidance. And then phase three is where we focus more on the mitochondria. And for those of you that don't know what that is, that's an important part of our cells that have a lot to do with creating cellular energy. And it has a strong influence on our emotional connections. It can definitely influence even speech and eye contact. It can also influence, other aspects internally with how the body is functioning with the immune system too. And then the phase four is all about basically healing the gut and making sure the gut lining is being supported, that we're restoring a good microbiome, so getting good bacteria in the gut and facilitating neurotransmitters and things of that nature. I guess an overview of all of it, it's kind of like we're basically weeding the garden and making sure the plants and the flowers are being nourished and supported. And the soil is the body, the soil is the digestive tract, the soil is the nervous system. And so as we help make sure we're supporting, removing, restoring, repairing, rebuilding, those are the key things that we're doing through that process. And as a result, we see some fantastic improvements and progress with these kids.
I love that. I love the little analogy you gave, kind of with the garden,
Yeah.
getting it prepped, making sure your body's prepped, providing those seeds and continuing to nourish, right?
Hmm.
Oh, beautiful analogy. So all of this sounds great, right? I think to anyone listening, this sounds great. But I think my next question is, let's hear some like stories of like what these changes could look like, maybe with the past clients that you have worked with.
Yeah, you bet. And I'll share maybe a couple stories if that's okay. And again, knowing that, when we talk about the spectrum, there's such a variety of kids that we all face, and that we work with and that we see. So how about I give you an example of a pretty low functioning, a mid functioning, and a high functioning? Is that okay?
Sure, we can go with that. Yeah.
Okay. So one of the clients that families that I work with that's low functioning, this is a child. He has other things other than autism, but he's been diagnosed on the spectrum. He's in a wheelchair. He has diapers. He's nonverbal. And one of the things that I think was most exciting for me was noticing how well he started to respond to food, where he was able to actually absorb food, and actually his bowel movements started improving. As a result, his mom noticed he had less agitation and irritation and aggression. He also seemed more pleasant and more happy. And it got to a point to where his mom was concerned that she wouldn't be able to do much travel, because the father actually worked out of state and they wanted to go travel and visit him for one of the holidays. I don't remember which holiday it was, but she went and traveled with her sons, and her oldest son is actually a high functioning autism. But she's like, I never thought I'd be able to travel and be able to do it like the way that we did it. And because of the program and the things that we've been doing, travel was way easier than she ever expected. And they actually flew on a plane and everything. So something that she was thrilled about and was happy. So that's just one example there.
So would you say like they were able to better take care? Or
Yeah,
give me a
just
little more insight.
Yeah, just the whole process, because travel can be so chaotic and stressful. And so, because her child became more mellow, more calm, more easy to be able to, function, he didn't have a lot of the outbursts. He didn't have a lot of the challenges. He wasn't as resistant with certain things. And so it gave his mom a greater peace of mind, knowing that whole process was a lot easier.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's almost like his body was more regulated in a sense.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And then I do just want to clarify by low function, mid function, high function. I think we're kind of referring to more to like independence, not so much like a demeaning thing, right? So,
Sure.
okay, so this person is maybe has high independence and not autonomy, but high independence. So, all right.
I like that better.
Yeah. So for the next one, someone who's maybe a little not as independent, we go for another example.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's great. And I appreciate that clarification. That's better. Um, so yeah, as far as less independent, so this individual, when he first started working with us, he rarely would interact with his sister. He's a couple years older than his sister, and he basically like lived in his own world. He didn't spend a lot of time engaging or interacting with her. But as a result of working with us and going through the process, we started doing some specific things to help him with the cellular healing, to help his body start to regulate better. He started actually choosing to engage with his sister, recognizing her, interacting with her, communicating with her, being more social, and having a better connection with his family members. His parents reported that the school would send home reports on a daily basis, and they would notice and recognize how he was more compliant and more readily able to receive instruction and follow through with directions. And so he would come home with remarks from the teachers, and they would be saying, "Hey, whatever you're doing with your son, keep doing it. We're seeing a lot of great changes there." And so that was really satisfying, for them, especially. The biggest thing was the connection with the family members and his sister, to where now they actually can joke around and poke fun at each other, and he can be engaged, more than ever before.
I love that. So it sounds like connection was built between the family. Social skills are kind of improved. Body regulation is improved, and they just have a close relationship, right?
You bet. You bet.
Love that. All right, and then we'll go with one more example.
Yeah. So a more independent individual. So this individual, he dealt with a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, and sleep challenges. He was in mainstream school, but definitely had some challenges and definitely had some difficulty with focus and attention. And so through a lot of the approaches that we took, and we found specifically like detoxing heavy metals and the chemicals seemed to be a really important piece for him, is where he would come and report back, not feeling the anxiety as strong as before, recognizing that he was sleeping better, which of course that's going to help with any mental health challenges too. And then the depression symptoms that he dealt with were not as great as they had been in the past. So him and his mom had noticed a lot of improvement, to where he even started engaging in some work, where he had some jobs that he was able to take part in at the school, and helping with even earning a little extra money on the side. So it gave him some confidence to be able to start doing some of those things. So it was really fun to see those changes as well, and something his parents were really pleased, and something he was happy with. And he ended up going on and graduated from high school, and is doing well. So it's been fun to see his transformation and just his confidence grow over time.
That's beautiful. As an OT, love that. It's just everyone loves to be like an active participant in their community. And I think that's a innate need by most people. So that is a really cool story. All right. So I love everything I learned so far. We got a lot of information about you and what you do and the impact that we're having. Someone who wants to work with you, how does that work? Can you work with people anywhere, virtually, in person? And what does that look like financially?
You bet. So yeah, I've created this program to be served virtually for families throughout the country. And so the best way to engage would be honestly um, going to a website. It's called healthempoweredfamilies.com. So HEALTHEMPOWERED families FAMILIES.com. There you would have access to, if you just put in your name and an email, then you could have chance to watch. It's a free training, and there you would be able to learn a little bit more about the cellular healing approach that I take. And if it makes sense, and if it's something you want to pursue, then you could actually schedule a consultation with me. The consultation is only $39. And so we actually always have like a coupon codes. And if you see on the page, it'll give you a coupon code where you can get 25% off. So it ends up being more like around $29 just for the consultation. So based off of that, from there, then we decide, with your child, where they're at, what kind of stages he or she at, and where would make the most sense as far as beginning. So the investment really will depend on the needs of the child and upon the level of engagement that you would want to pursue. So really, it will just depend on that. But the opportunity to engage in that way would be the easiest, just to go through that website.
That sounds good. And maybe for anyone, I love that the entry and just the consultation is very affordable. Any idea on a range? So, like after they work with you, a range of price,
Sure.
where could it range?
Sure. So with the process being over 5 months, and then they would have access to me, so it can range from anywhere from like five to $600, and then it can even go higher depending on, again, the level of engagement. So it can range even up into the thousands. So
Okay, that's good to know. For anyone just kind of want to know where that could go. All right, I love that. So, last thing I want to end off with is resources and tips that we can give our parents. Doing this work we've done for so long, what's some things that the families you work with could just kind of leave with right now that they can start to implement in their daily life?
you bet. Yeah, I would say a couple things that you could take and implement right away that could actually have an impact in a positive way for you and your child. So, a couple things. One related to diet. So, a lot of things that can create cellular inflammation sometimes can be a dietary piece. So, I like to create what I call exchanges, because sometimes when we change too much, it can feel overwhelming and it can feel like a lot. And especially lifestyle changes can be really difficult for kids, but also for parents. And so instead of like removing something completely, I like to do what I call the exchange. And so it doesn't feel like you're missing out on too much, but it's an easy change that you can make. So one would be with cooking is the type of oils that you're using with cooking. So a lot of people are more prone to using vegetable oil, so like your canola oil, your soybean oil, things like that. Those can be highly inflammatory and can cause a lot of stress on the cellular level, and definitely make things a little bit more difficult with just overall inflammation in the body. So what I would do is I would get rid of those and I would exchange those. Instead of cooking with the vegetable oil, the canola, the soybean oil, I would exchange it with either coconut oil, olive oil, or avocado oil. Those would be better options. And just that alone will be a game changer for your overall health and wellness, and will help support cellular healing. So that's one thing. As far as like other things with like sweeteners, sugar definitely can be one of those things that can be a big trigger for some kids and some individuals, and can create more inflammation. So instead of like processed sugars, some other things that you could exchange that with would be like, some raw honey, organic maple syrup as a sweetener. Monk fruit has been shown to be a good sweetener as well. Sometimes stevia is not necessarily a bad option, but some people do struggle with stevia, so I wouldn't necessarily go straight to that one, but I would consider some of those other ones like the monk fruit when you're cooking, or again the honey, the organic maple syrup. Those are some better sweetener options as well. And then as far as like when we're going to bed at night and sleeping, we all, I would say a lot of the people, and if you're listening to this, then you probably, of course, have Wi-Fi in your home. But Wi-Fi at night, when we have that plugged in, that can actually, the electromagnetic frequencies from the Wi-Fi routers, depending where you sleep or where your child sleeps, that can actually potentially create a little bit more stress to where they might not be getting as sound of sleep as you would hope or as you would want to. And so even doing something as simple as turning the Wi-Fi off at night or unplugging the Wi-Fi router at night and then just plugging it back in the morning when you need it. Of course, some people, it might not make sense if they have a job or some kind of work where they need access to the Wi-Fi 24/7. But those are some different simple things that you can do that can also help try to reduce maybe some of the potential stress on the nervous system, and allowing a better, more restful sleep to where the brain and the cells of the body are regenerating more effectively at night too, because it's not being exposed to additional exposure from the radiation from the EMFs. So those are a few things.
Yeah, and I'm sure it could build on that. And I love that. So I'm someone who loves like all the health, wellness things, even for myself. But I can also throw OT twist on that. If you're a parent, incorporating that into your world will kind of carry over to your kiddos. I think for me, cutting out certain things, or like you said, replacing things, like once I cut some out and then I add it back in, I feel it more. So our bodies are very intuitive. And
For sure.
I feel like you'll know once you start eating healthier or getting cleaner, you'll start to notice the things that do cause inflammation in your body. All right, this has been an awesome conversation. I learned stuff from you, and I hope our audience has learned as well. I hope people can reach out to you and be able to get more help.
Yeah, you bet. No, I appreciate it, Brian. Thanks so much for the opportunity to be on here, and keep up the good work with what you're doing and just the way you're impacting a lot of families and serving so many people. I think it's awesome.
All right. I love that. And I think you gave everybody your website. I will also link all your contact information in the show notes. And it's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Awesome. Thanks again, Brian. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you, Dr. Jeffrey Knight. And thank you so much for listening to the Autism Family Resource Podcast. Today's conversation highlights how supporting the body, gut, and nervous system can make a meaningful difference for your child when it's done thoughtfully and with the right professional support. If this is something you're interested in exploring, I encourage you to reach out, learn more, and see if this could possibly be a good fit for your family. And if this episode resonated with you at all, please share it with another parent or individual who you think might benefit from this conversation. You can stay connected with us at pureheartstherapy.com or on social media at pureheartstherapy for more resources, conversation, and support for families navigating autism and neurodiversity. I'll see you next time.